Alright, so with this broken piece of Phylon out of the way and this cleaned up, I can get my measurement, rough measurement, and then I'm going to use this as my template for the new piece that's going to go in here. This is a little bit wet right here, so I'm going to let that dry out for a good day before I get my adhesive on there, put the new sheet of fiberglass on. All right, so we've got a 99 Shasta Sprite Class C motorhome on the Ford chassis that we're working on. This is the 21 footer. It's a cool size, but we've got some roof work to do and some other rotten areas and fiberglass work on this side that I've already started. Removed this panel here. I'll show you that in a little bit. So getting all this done, repairing some damage on the rear wall where the ladder was. Somebody had backed into something and hit the ladder, and of course the ladder mounts went right through the sidewall. And you know, a couple of the little things, little fiberglass work there, but mainly on the roof, the Cabover needs to be rebuilt. So we're doing the whole nose, sort of like what we did with the truck camper, but we're gonna tear it all apart from the inside to see what we've got first. If I can kind of avoid dropping this piece of Phylon down over the van, I'd like to do that, but I want to make sure I get all the rotten stuff out of there. So the windows got to come out, of course, all the interior walls, insulation and rotten 1x2s, 2x2s and 2x3s that they use to frame this all up. Get all the rotten stuff out of there. On the roof, about 3 feet back, 3.5 feet back, the deck is rotten, so we're going to pull the rubber roof back, replace that section of deck, and lay the rubber roof back down, and then we're going to do a full rubber roof reseal, and this is what we're going to use. So I've got 3 gallons of this Everbond RV roof coating. I'll give this stuff a shot. I didn't want to do the silicone roof like I did on the truck camper on this one, just because it's on mine I redid the whole deck obviously, and this one I'm not redoing the whole deck and the rubber roof staying down. So I know you can put that stuff over a rubber roof, but I know this stuff works great over a rubber roof, so I'm going to do that. Of course, got new butyl tape and some new self-leveling lap sealant. Got a bunch of new vents, and we are doing a 300 watt solar, pulling out the air conditioner and putting in another roof vent, just a manual roof vent with the max air covers so they can be left open in bad weather. Got some water damage back in that corner. Of course, that's where the ladder had pushed through the wall and all that got wet. So if I have time, I'm going to yank this window and repanel this rear wall just so it doesn't look so horrible. Yeah, get all the other stuff sealed up on the outside. Got a 240 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Got a lithium charger, smart charger, all the cabling and wiring, of course, all the solar, charge controller and all that stuff. That's all going to live down here under this dinette seat. And then we're going to wire it just like I did with the truck camper. Wire it into the, because we've got a 2000 watt inverter there. That, of course, is going to live down here as well and be wired directly to the automatic switch. So we're going to do that was used. It was a pre-wire for a generator, but that'll work just fine, switching over between the inverter and shore power. So you can see on here what we're working with. It's pretty bad. This is all pretty good. It's a little soft right here, but I'm not going to pull up this floor. I'm just going to do that nose section. If I get it pulled out and it looks really bad, I'll see what my client wants to do. But of course, rebuilding all that whole nose area, just like we did with the truck camper. This interior ceiling panel's got to go. It's pretty rotten in that corner, and since I'm doing the roof deck and probably, you know, some of the stringers going across some of the joists, I will just replace that ceiling panel as well. That way it'll give me good access when I'm working up there. So under the bed we've got our I think it's a 45-gallon freshwater tank. I'm going to be flushing the entire water system, making sure the water pump works correctly, that there's no leaks, you know, pressurize the system, make sure there's no leaks, that the pump doesn't cycle. And potentially we're going to be yanking out the gas water heater and putting in an electric instant water heater, tankless, by Bosch. Never worked with the Bosch system before, but just doing the research that I've been doing, it looks like a pretty cool little water heater, and it'll fit back there just fine and plumb into the system that's existing. So this is the old water heater here, just a 6-gallon. We'll pull that out. This motorhome has propane and a propane furnace, but none of that's going to be used. He's just going to abandon the LP system altogether. So the cooktop is probably going to come out. I'm not going to be doing that, but it'll either come out or it'll just be used as countertop space and storage in the oven. But client's got a induction cooktop that he'll be running, and of course the microwave. Got a 2600 watt inverter generator that he'll be able to use, you know, sporadically. This is a big system, this DC system, so be able to run quite a bit with that, and with the 300 watts of solar, should work real well. This is going up to Alaska, so this summer, of course, lots of sun in Alaska in the summertime, so they should have no problem keeping these things charged. All new plumbing vents, all new LED clearance lights, and so front and rear, got the amber and the red. We'll get all the new lights put on, make sure everything's functioning properly. And I'll be doing all the safety stuff too. So I've got a fire extinguisher going in, got a CO detector, a smoke detector going in. There's not going to be any propane on board. However, there is a tank. Even though we've drained the tank all the way, I am going to recommend that we put an LP gas leak detector in here, just, you know, because there's already a spot for it, and, you know, they're not super expensive. Might as well be safe, and I'll just replace it. Of course, all the other little stuff, like making sure all the lights work. You know, this refrigerator is going to be just used as storage. He's using a 12 volt, a small 12 volt ice chest, and a 12 volt cooler and freezer. And this will just be storage. It's pretty cool. You know, it's in rough shape, but it's only got 37,000 miles on it. It's the Ford V10, the Triton, 6.8 liter V10. It's a good motor, 99. Anyway, I probably won't film every little thing that I do, but I'd like to do a video on rebuilding that nose piece if I can do it from the inside. You know, that way I've shown on my truck camper rebuild how I did it by removing the whole nose, and that was a lot of work. This will be a lot of work as well, but if I can just get the nose rebuilt from the inside, so leaving that Phylon skin on the outside, framing everything in, you know, the whole nose and around the window framework from the inside, and then retrimming everything with, you know, obviously new wall, trim work, sealant, and all that kind of stuff from the inside. That would be, I thought that'd be kind of a cool thing to show. So anyway, stay tuned for all those videos. Catch you guys on the next one. Later. So I'm going to suggest rebuilding the entire front cap. So removing the window, removing the trim on both sides, pulling the fiberglass back, reframing all that in, pulling the roof back to the antenna. So there's a truss that goes right along here, replacing this section of roof deck, which is just OSB. So replacing that, putting the roof back down, and resealing everything. So in the Cabover, all of this needs to come out. All of that needs to come out. Of course, the window. And the entire framework needs to be rebuilt because that is just all rotten. So all of this framework and around the window and down along the nose radius all needs to be rebuilt, and then new skin on the inside. This panel will be replaced. That's just like a fascia, and of course retrim everything. On this ceiling section in the nose, so it's just the Cabover ceiling section from this piece of trim to where the radius starts by the window. This needs to be replaced because, again, it's rotten all through here, and the ceiling has actually, the roof is actually sunk down about 1.5 inches, and that right there is all black mold. I removed the ladder, and it's over here. It's not repairable, so I took the brackets off. I will seal all these holes up. There is a rather large hole in the Phylon here where the whoever backed into something, the ladder, you know, pushed through the Phylon. And then there's another small hole right there. All this will be cleaned up and then patched. This will be patched with Eternabond tape and sealed. Over here on the driver's side rear, I'm gonna want to do the same thing here. Patch that with Eternabond tape, get that trim back into place, replace that light, and then where all of this Phylon is broken, patch that with Eternabond tape and seal it just so water doesn't get in, because that is wood back in there.